This is by no means the quietest of sites that I visit. I'm back at the edge of Clumber Park, right at the side of the very busy, as usual, A614. I'm just north of the Clumber Hotel. As you can see, this is a great site for bluebells, but it's also a great site for a harvestman. That harvestman is Platybunus pinetorum. It's a species that I featured regularly on this channel and is going to be featured again. And already, within just a few minutes of searching, I've checked about half a dozen tree trunks, and the count is already on 3 individual Platybunus pinetorum. This is a species that has no males. In at least the majority of the country, it doesn't. This is still a relatively rare harvestman. Many people still haven't seen it that are interested in Apilios. I've seen hundreds. Literally hundreds, including over 100 at this very site last year. These have just been disturbed because, as you'll have noticed, this Platybunus pinetorum has just settled back onto the trunk, but there's one about 16 inches above it that's just off the trunk. Whether these two have just been in contact or whether one is still in hunting mode, I don't know. But anyway, this is today's quarry, hoping to beat last year's count of, I think it was 108. I know it was just over 100, and I'm not convinced that people believe that such numbers of Platybunus pinetorum exist. This is a lovely site, albeit noisy, for the obvious delights of being a bluebell wood, and there's a regular stream of people pulling up in the adjacent lay-by to come and photograph these. It's an eye-catching bit of woodland driving past A614, and it prompts many people to stop and take a minute to photograph the spectacle which is a bluebell woodland. For me, that spectacle is doubled by the thought of this once extremely rare and almost mythical beast in the form of Platybunus pinetorum being here. This, in terms of numbers, is by far the best site in the whole of the UK. No other sites are producing the numbers of Platybunus pinetorum as this one does. But I'm pausing for a minute or two to take in these fabulous bluebells. They're absolutely at the best at the moment. And it's just a shame that more people don't take that few minutes out of the day to appreciate these. It is a stunning sight. This is a cracking and very easily accessible bit of bluebell woodland. You don't even have to get out of your car if you're unable to. Anyway, the purpose of my visit, the main purpose, is, as I've mentioned, to count the number of Platybunus pinetorum that are on the smooth barked beaches that you see in front of you. There are some pines and the odd oak here, and the fissured and ridged nature of pine and oak bark makes seeing or looking for Platybunus pinetorum extremely difficult. So most of my efforts will be concentrated on the smooth trunked beach of which is a fine example right in the middle of the screen. The count is presently on 4. Now here's a nice surprise. This is a moth that flies in the early spring. This is Elise black archers, only small. I'll use my forefinger as a size gauge in a minute once I've waffled on about it. It's not a common moth, probably under recorded though to a degree, because it flies earlier in the year before many people have dusted off their traps for the year. It always rests pointing head down. It's a characteristic feature. No matter how many times, if you have one of these on a piece of wood and want to photograph it pointing upwards, the moth just won't cooperate. But it's a nicely marked moth despite its small size. Generally a whitish or very light grey with varying marks, darker marks on them. So quite nice patterned individuals. It's a moth you'll often see, especially in the Sherwood Forest area, on the trunks of oaks. It's quite easy to find if you put a bit of effort in, but it's by no means an everyday type of moth. And now I've waffled on about it, probably seems endlessly, I'll put my grubby forefinger at the side of it, so now you've got an idea just how big this is. But from nose, which is pointed downwards, to wingtip, it's about a centimetre to 11 mil in length. But it's a nice moth. Well, there's something interesting going on with these, because several now, the count is up to 7, because there's 2 on this trunk here, within, again, about a foot of each other. The one you're looking at is no more than 2.5 foot off the ground, and the other one is about a foot below that. But they appear, say about 5 out of the 7 that I've found, to be in hunting mode. Only a couple have been sat flat to the bark surface. This one is standing proud, as you can see. So is the other one. I think a higher count than today is likely in another week or so, given suitable weather. I think they're still at the stage where they're ascending the trunks after overwintering in the safety of the leaf litter. I'm just trying to get you a different angle. It doesn't help that a lot of these are on the shadier sides of the trunks. A few are occupying the sunny side. Well, that's probably just because they're hunting. This one particularly shows the chestnut ocularium well, with the ocularium being the part of the body that houses the eyes. And on Platybunus pinetorum, you've generally got a dark but well marked Harvestman, and the chestnut ocularium is distinctive from many feet away, from about 6 feet away. You'll know instantly that you've got this species. Now I know, well, I'm well aware that I do feature this species a lot, but it's a species that I specifically study. Nobody else is doing this, at least in Nottinghamshire. I know other people are out looking for Platybunus pinetorum, and I'll just pass on again the information that I've gathered regarding the best places to look for this species. Ideally, woodland adjacent or very close to main roads is a key. Potentially also are the presence of lay-bys. The woodland needs to be the right type, as that one settles in, you see. That's another one that's settled flat to the bark. But the woodland needs to be the right type. Beech is ideal, but woodland with containing smooth bark trees like young sycamore and ash will also be used. The key thing is that the understory vegetation should be poor, ideally just leaf litter. This seems to be a harvestman that doesn't like forest floors or woodland floors that are covered in bramble and thick vegetation. I've yet to find them in that habitat. There are a couple that are found at Rufford last year, and Rufford, the country park area, is partially like that, but there are some areas where the vegetation under the trees is sparse. That's the key place to look. So you're looking alongside main trunk roads or arterial roads throughout the county, with woodland adjacent or very close by. Smooth bark trees, especially beech and beech woodland, because beech woodland generally has a poor ground flora. So you're looking for woodland with virtually no vegetation and just leaf litter on the ground. They're the key things. Anyway, as far as our count goes so far, this is number 8. And this is a typically marked Platybunus. Lovely things. Well, I'm hardly likely to get quite a moment on this road. I might have a quick few seconds now, but I'm not going to continue survey because it's obvious that numbers of Platybunus pinetorum here aren't anywhere near at the peak yet. We need a bit more warmer weather, in particular some warmer nights, some more mild nights would be just a ticket, thank you very much. In the meantime, if you want to stop and admire these fantastic bluebells, given decent weather, you've probably got about another week. It's just north of the Clumber Hotel on the A614. It really is worth coming and have a look. Say, you don't even have to get out your car if you don't want to. It's just glorious. So, in a couple of weeks, back again for another count of Platybunus pinetorum. No cars coming. It always makes you seem as though you've gone deaf when there's no traffic on this road.